Hello and welcome to episode 50 of Your Ultimate Comeback. We got a little change of scenery today. And we have a special guest, super excited. Gary Heyer from Higher Power Wellness has joined us. Super excited to hear his story, explore all his knowledge. Gary, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, and I'm stoked at this change of scenery. It's a cool vibe.
Yeah. We busting
Everything
out
happens for a reason.
Busting out in the gym is great.
You were flexible, and we appreciate that.
Hey, when you deal with some of the stuff I've had to deal with, you learn how to be flexible.
No,
Let me just tell you.
True.
It's one of my characteristics that I'm proud of.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for your flexibility.
Yes.
No problem. This is easy.
Yeah. So we're actually coming to you from the weight room today. We're in the gym. Might get some sets in between. No, just kidding.
Brad just did a set of bench, you guys.
Yeah, I pumped out a bunch of push-ups. Reminds me of my senior year of high school, like the senior picture, all the guys had to take their shirts off at senior prom.
What?
And everyone's doing push-ups and sit-ups.
To make sure that
you see the picture now with a bunch of scrawny kids.
Oh my God.
We thought we were so jacked.
Oh yeah, for sure. Trying to get that final pump just a little more swole.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
It was awesome. Good memory there. Gary, man, thank you for joining us. Yes. Super excited to kind of explore life with you a little bit. If you wouldn't mind, just kind of start off telling people a little bit about you, what you do, and ultimately your story, because your story is phenomenal.
Well, what I do is a derivative of my story, right? So we have to take it back a few years. I was an athlete. We kind of talked about sports off the camera here, and so I grew up very competitive. The one thing that I wasn't taught growing up into this tall frame was very good nutritional habits. I don't think a lot of us were led right that way throughout the 80s, 90s, and around that era especially. Fast food was on the rise, so I became like addicted to those foods. And I tell you that because I took those habits that I learned as a growing boy of just having the advice of eating more to feed this growing body into my adult life, and I got more lazy. I wasn't in the gym. So 7 years ago, I found myself almost 300 pounds soaking wet in burger grease and bad habits.
No way.
Absolutely.
Wow. And how tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
6'5".
So you could hide 300 pounds kind of in some heavier clothes, like some bigger clothes.
Right.
So I did hide it well, and I hid my symptoms with not over-the-counter drugs, but prescription drugs like statins and stuff like that. So I had these lifestyle habits that were plaguing me, but I had I wasn't given the right advice when it came to how to address the problems, right?
Sure.
So I had all these security blankets of these prescription drugs and excuses. And I found myself at 41 years old after a colonoscopy, finding out that I had tumors all over my body, a stage 4 cancer diagnosis.
Wow.
At 41?
At 41 years old, 10-year-old daughter, 3 days before Christmas.
Oh my goodness.
In 2017, and it rocked my world.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be the greatest blessing in my life because it helped me become the man that I'm supposed to be and understand how to take care of myself and change the environment that I created. I found out early on that my disease was not genetic. It had everything to do with the environment that I created, and that's why I led with that story of how I treated my body and treated food up until that day. Actually, it was about a year into my battle, I started really changing my diet, but since that diagnosis, I did what pretty much everybody else does. You go to the hospital and you get help from an oncologist, and I'm so thankful for my team up at City of Hope. I originally was diagnosed and given 6 months to live.
Wow.
7 years ago.
Wow.
It was heavy.
Yeah.
Very heavy.
And as you said, you married and one child at this point.
Right. I married my high school sweetheart,
so I've
been with her for about 30 years. Right.
Oh, I love that.
So, it's beautiful. And she's been my rock, and she's got her story through this and traumas. I mean, this has been devastating to deal with. And since that diagnosis, I've had cancer travel all over my body. I've had major surgeries. I've done 53 rounds of chemotherapy and 35 rounds of radiation, and had my skull opened up to have a brain tumor taken out. I've had my colon and rectum removed and my half of my liver removed. And gosh darn it, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
But here I am, stronger and healthier than I've ever been in my life, because I knew that I created this disease, and I took responsibility for the environment that I created, and I started making changes one by one. And my formula was just trying to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. And the compound interest of that effect, looking at my daughter saying, I got to step up and be a man for her. Mm-hmm. Here I am 7 years later, healthier and stronger than ever, leading thousands of people on how to fight cancer more efficiently. and other people how to just get better results in life. So it's been the greatest blessing in my life. Talk
And
about
what an
comeback.
amazing
Yeah, I love it.
and what an amazing lesson and show for your daughter,
Yeah.
right? That things can change when you change.
When you take responsibility,
Right,
it starts
right.
with taking responsibility and diagnosing really where you're at in
Yeah.
life and what the cause of the symptoms are.
Right.
Right. Whether it's your health or in relationships or in your business or however. So fortunately, this whole awakening within me has, been an impact on my daughter, who's now 17, and she's a leader, and she's
Nice.
just all for the right reasons, and just
Excellent.
a really good human being, not just a good girl, but just a good human. And I'm just really proud of her journey because it's been devastating for her.
Of course.
But she draws energy from me.
Right.
And I walk around very confident because I don't give cancer any power in my life.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right? Now, not everybody in the family is that way, so it's tough. But
Yeah.
my daughter Aubrey, she's amazing.
That's
and
so
I'm so
good.
proud of her.
Love it.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I got to share a story. I should have started off with this. How we came to meet.
Yeah.
So my son plays on a little football team. He's 9, and the head coach, he and I have gotten to be pretty good friends. I love him. He's great with my kid and the boys. And he asked me one prize, like, hey, how's the podcast coming? He goes, what's the name of it again? I said, it's going great. We changed the name to Ultimate Comeback. And he immediately goes, oh my gosh, you got to meet my buddy Gary. He's got like the Ultimate Comeback story. And he goes, here, let me show you a video. And he shows me a video from your Instagram. And it was the video of after they'd removed the tumor from your brain. I'm like, Basilio, I literally, like, this randomly crossed my feed like a week ago.
Wow.
And I was fascinated by this guy. I go, I gotta meet him. And like literally, he just texted you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you and I just started chatting, and it's just,
Here we are.
I couldn't be more thrilled to have you on the show with us. So
Well, thank you. And thank you
yeah.
for sharing that. It's cool to know that the message is getting out on people's feed that really are following too. Because, this whole journey has really transformed into what I'm considering a movement. And it's
Yes.
just at the beginning phases, right? So the ultimate goal of where God's leading me is to lead millions of people and have facilities and have resources to be able to share with people a lot of things that I'm doing, because Western medicine is a huge part of my story. Obviously, they've
Sure.
cut me open. I've had many surgeries. I've relied on the medications, but I've also got myself off of the medications and able to regenerate cells properly. Because we talk about the fight against cancer and standard of care. A lot of resources there, but it's kind of minimal. And chemotherapy, radiation, they are very destructive to
Yes.
the entire body, right?
Yes.
It can obliterate a cancer tumor, but then what happens? And even with surgery, the cancer stem cells emit themselves, and then now this microscopic disease is spreading across. So that's why you see a lot of people wondering, why is there remission, or why is all the reoccurrence after these treatments?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
But if you flush your body properly, if you work out, if you put the right stuff in your body, if you mineral load, if you hydrate with the right living water,
Yes.
if you try and detox your body correctly with nature's ingredients, now we're talking about going to the root of the problem, and that's what changed my life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
One thing that's fascinating me is obviously after Basilio introduced us, I really started like exploring your story, seeing your feed. The one thing that's amazed me is your clips where you have just finished the chemo treatment. You're in the middle of chemo treatments, but you're out at one of your daughter's events, and you have this incredible energy.
Yeah.
It's typically not what you see with people in the
Right.
middle of chemo treatment.
You're right.
It was a lot of that kind of due to the kind of what you learned, the products you created, and all that.
Yeah, it's that. It's my faith journey. It's definitely what I put in my body. I mean, all this stuff helps trillions of cells in my body that I focus on. Remember, I said I don't give much power to cancer because there's, at this point, maybe a half a dozen spots in there that we're calling cancer. But I got trillions of cells.
Yeah.
And so I focus on that, and I focus my energy on that, and I live my life that way. So I am vibrant.
Yeah.
And I do carry that energy. It's real. Like, I can't hide it. It's just, it comes out of me because I do. This has been a 6-year journey figuring all this stuff out. And it's beyond that. Like, my supplement cupboard is crazy with different natural things, different extracts and nuts and seeds and herbs and roots and
Love it. Love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You are singing or preaching to the choir. I mean,
I love that.
I love all that.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm a weirdo that way.
I want to ask you for some advice because
Do you want me to leave?
Oh no, not for me personally. Like, just this is something that I see a lot of. People find themselves in that state. Maybe they haven't got the you have cancer,
A diagnosis.
diagnosis, but people find themselves in a state where their bodies are giving up on them. They've given up on themselves. And they want to make a change. But they're eating the fast food. They're drinking the sodas. They're having the alcohol at night. They're not exercising. Like, it's a struggle point.
It is.
And the thought process, I deal with a lot of people in that state, whether it's, I'm just talking to people that don't even have cancer. Just, I need to make a change. Like, I got this child, or this isn't going well. But it's incredibly overwhelming. And you got that diagnosis of, hey, you got cancer and you got 6 months to live.
Right.
What kind of advice would you give someone in that state of, I want to make a change, or I have to make a change, but it's so daunting? Like, where do you tell those people to start?
Act as if you got a stage 4 diagnosis and you have 6 months to live.
Wow.
That'll change everything.
Right. Like, and so it's fight or flight. Now, what are you going to do? If you're one that wants change, you have to realize that you have to be the one to create the change. You have to go to the root of the problem, which is within yourself somewhere. You got to find that. Typically, if you start treating your gut right, your whole world changes.
Isn't that wild?
Isn't it crazy? Like, your mind, everything that you think of, like, it just starts in the center of you. And that's what's causing all of our disease and obesity and the problems that we're seeing in America. And it's skyrocketing. And it has everything to do with what we're feeding our bodies. So we need to start being responsible for what we're doing, take responsibility for the change that we want, and start acting as if your life is on the line, because gosh darn it, it is. Have you seen the numbers? Like, I talk to people all day long that are getting diagnosed with cancer, and they look younger than us mostly.
An uptick right now.
Oh, it's huge. It's astronomical. And by 2050 or something like that, there's supposed to be another 80% increase or something.
Whoa.
Unless we create some change. So Robert Kennedy, I love that guy. I'm hoping he does some change, because our food industry, our pharma industry, they're being regulated by the same agency. There's a lot of corruption there.
You think?
And I'm just a number. I've seen the millions of dollars in what they've funneled through the system to take care of me. Thank God. Like, I'm here today. But I see what's going on and what it for what it is. Right? So back to your question, how do you create the change? Take responsibility and act as if your life is on the line, and then just go create the change. Stop being a baby about it.
Well, because reality, if they don't make the change, life is going to be on the line.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of when.
Sadly, it takes a diagnosis, a really horrible diagnosis, typically, for people to really want to make changes, I think. I'll do it when, next year.
I had that mentality.
Did you really?
Absolutely. I thought about it all the time growing up. Like, okay, so now we're a little off subject, but my mom's parents died at an early age.
Okay.
And I had this thought as a young kid, or fear, that I was going to die at an early age. And so, I don't know, but I was always feeling good. I was an athlete. I excelled.
What was your sport?
It was basketball. Baseball was my first love. Then I played basketball through college.
Nice.
I was that guy that was making the excuse of, I'll take care of it later. I'll lose weight when I get the next flu.
Okay.
Because I'll throw up and be sick. Right? Like, I was that idiot.
That's chick mentality, dude.
I guess. But it was my mentality for many years, and look where it put me.
Right.
So again, like, we got to go back to taking responsibility for the reality that we have, and if we feel like we need to create change, start acting like it and take responsibility and just do it.
Well, and I really believe people with athletic backgrounds see things very differently, because we're told, eat whatever you want. Put as much weight as you can on what has. I remember being in high school and needing to put weight on, and what has the most calories? Soda. So I drink like 2 or 3 32-ounce sodas a day. I throw some milkshakes in there. Right? But like, it was Taco Bell had a ton of calories. But it was okay because I worked out all the time, is what I was told. And maybe you offset it a little bit with all the exercise and the training. But when that goes away, you're stuck in this lifestyle of all the food addictions that come with all the stuff they're putting in our food.
Absolutely.
That's hard to break. You stop training, your whole physiology falls apart.
And so we're having this conversation, because I think about this all the time now in retrospect. It's like, what if I actually learned the right way to take care of my body when I was in that peak performance time? Would have been even better. And I know it would have been. So I just hope that the younger generations are taking note of stories like mine and seeing, like, this is a young dude. I shouldn't be talking about a life-threatening disease. But I am. And I'm just hoping that the younger generations take this serious and say, look, I need to do better. I need to learn for myself what the truth is about how this body was designed. It was designed like 6,000 years ago, last time I checked, in my faith where I'm at. And all the fuel to heal was also created around that time. So So let's get back to that. We don't need all of these crutches that we get in life, I think.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about some of your products. I'm super excited to hear about this stuff.
Absolutely. So my products are, again, just really, I've used them. This is stuff that I've implemented in my life, and I started sharing my story online through Instagram primarily, and I started getting a lot of followers and people wanting to change their life, and so I started teaching them things about this lifestyle, and juicing was one of them. And so people would have a hard time getting the same results or getting the products that they needed. There's some unique stuff in my juice that's really cool. So I created this line with a team of people to fit a need, to be able to take care of people the right way and teach them a lifestyle that's going to get them better results. So all this is purpose-driven. We've got a hemp line that I'm really proud of, cannabis line. The truth is, cannabis is the plant that we're looking for, and it's got all the great medicinal power. I treat it like a vegetable. It makes me totally different than anybody out there. Is that if we're talking about like from a product standpoint, we're not selling recreational stuff. We're not talking about that side of it. We're using this plant in our diet the way that I believe we were intended to use it. And we do that through toppers for our food, oils that we can put straight on our tongue. But like this product here is amazing. This is a food topper that's just basically like taking the plant right out of your backyard and throwing it in your salad.
Oh, wow.
But now you can have it in this form. It's created with patented technology that's incredible. We're very unique that this is like the most raw form that you can take and put on your food. And I believe that that's the secret to health and wellness, is feeding the system that way with this herb. CMOS, 92 of the 102 minerals that reside in our body. So mineral loading is hugely important in cellular regeneration and taking care of the cellular structure of your body. So these products, again, they're well made and made with love because me and my team make them by hand. Just Wednesday, my wife and I and a couple other people juiced 400 juices.
Wow.
Yeah, and they go out across the country. I just got off chemo last weekend too. So like, I'm on fire and doing these juices because of these juices and because of these things that I'm talking about, doing CMOS every single day, drinking living water, eating a very healthy nutritional lifestyle, and implementing all this stuff within that lifestyle, that diet. It's changed my life.
Yeah.
And so I built this to fit the need to teach people the truth and then give them products that I could trust to be able to kind of dictate some results a little bit.
So this is not just for people that are battling cancer. This is for anyone.
Everybody.
Yeah.
The human body was all designed the same. If you want to, lose weight, feel great, or if you want to prevent cancer, maybe you got a family line of cancer. Yeah. If you're fighting cancer, we help you through the side effects. Like, it's incredible what this stuff could do. Yeah. Half of my client base isn't fighting cancer.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
They're trying to prevent.
Hustlers and they just don't have the time and they don't want to invest the energy in making the juices. So we ship them to your doorstep on a weekly basis.
Wow.
Like we got subscription deals to where we'll just show up. The package will just keep going and you just keep consuming and you got access to me. And it's just been a beautiful ride. And I'm very proud of what this all created. So yeah, Higher Power started as a hashtag to root me on to fight for my life. And now it's turned into a wellness business. And I also got a foundation to where we give all this stuff away to people that are fighting cancer that can't afford it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Struggling financially, it's one of the hugest side effects to cancer.
Yeah.
And so in my journey of helping other people, I found that as a huge need and a gap. So I created the Higher Power Foundation to be a leading source in this cancer community, to teach people the truth about how to fuel the body right, provide them with great resources, no money out of their pocket, and the goal is 1 million people to start.
That's great.
So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's what it all started with.
I love this.
I want you to pop one open right now.
Well, I brought you guys juices for sure.
Oh, you did? I'm excited.
Yeah. So we can pop those open and feel free.
Yeah. We actually recently just lost a friend to cancer.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so we've seen the fight and the battle that goes on. So, and I think that's a big fear of people, right?
Yeah.
It's a scary thought. Do you have any advice for people, like things they can do to kind of reduce the risk of getting cancer? If you had any advice on that?
Yeah. The cancer tends to be, with this uptick, I want to be respectful to the people that have genetic disease because that is true. It's out there and we can't discount that.
Right.
But what we're seeing this uprise in is non-genetic cancer.
Yeah.
And so start with learning how to change the environment in your body. One of the best things is living water. Water changed my life at a most pivotal time and became one of the greatest sources to vitality through these last 7 years. Hydration is everything.
Yes.
our organs are 80 to 90% water. Our entire body is 70% water. It's the most important life source that we have. So that would be the first thing that I would look at. Are you drinking enough water?
Yes.
What does that look like?
Yes.
It's basically your weight in half in ounces, and you turn that to ounces. So if you're 200 pounds, your minimum is 100 ounces. Yeah. But more importantly is what type of water are you drinking?
Yeah, not tap water.
Not tap water, hopefully, but even a lot of filtered water or the bottled water that's claiming to be this healthy alkaline water or whatever. Sure. This water is, again, talking about how our body was designed thousands of years ago. It was meant to thrive and hydrate off of living water. Water has a life cycle of 5 days. All the stuff that's in the marketplace that we're grabbing off the shelf has been in those bottles much longer than 5 days. So this is dead water, and it doesn't fit in the cellular structure of the body. So it's not even hydrating you, and it's loaded with chemicals. I would start there. That's your easiest source.
What makes water living?
Okay, so you got, when somebody has a heart attack, what do the paramedics do? They'll hook you up to a defibrillator. They'll shock you back to life.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to have equipment that will shock water back to life. So I have a system in my home that it provides filtration. We've matched it to like we check the city water, so we look for all the contaminants, so we get the pre-filter dialed in, and then I have a machine that will ionize the water back to life. It breaks up the molecular structure of the water. It's loaded with hydrogen. It's antioxidant. So one glass of, like if this was water, 1 16-ounce bottle of water of this living water would be the equivalent of eating like 4 pounds of blueberries in antioxidant power. That's living water. It's alkaline. That's living water. It's got lots of components that make it living water, but most importantly is that cellular structure, so it can hydrate or the molecular structure, so it can hydrate the cellular structure of your body.
The cells can actually use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got you.
And then on top of that is, so your cells can use it as the mineral loads. So I like using Celtic sea salt while I'm hydrating throughout the day, multiple times during the day, because Celtic sea salt carries 82 minerals. Minerals are also a vital source of hydration. The two of those together would be a great start for somebody looking to get better results immediately. We're talking about like simple things like just changing your life with acid reflux, better sleep. There's so many stories of life change by just changing your water to living water.
Have you ever read any of Dr. Batman-Gilich books?
I haven't heard of it.
So he was in prison somewhere, Israel or Iran or something like that. And when you go to these prisons, you're certain to be killed. It was you're going to die. And he was a doctor, and he started treating all these other inmates with water for all their different health issues. And they ended up seeing the benefit of what he was doing with these patients, not knowing how he was doing it, so they kept him alive. And he ended up writing all these books about the power of like water and minerals and all those things for everything you just talked about.
Yeah.
How he could treat acid reflux with just water, heartburn, all these different things he was treating, because these inmates were under crazy amounts of stress. So I love that you're talking about this stuff. Because his books, and he ended up winning like a Pulitzer Prize or something like that for his work. It was phenomenal. But,
so there's so much truth to it. You know, this stuff has been studied for centuries. You know, I mean, this is the truth about our body for thousands of years now. But the rise of pharma and food 100 years ago or so has really put it overshadowing overshadow over the truth about how to take care of your body. So hydration is important.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it changed my life. That led me, like the topic of antioxidants and living water led me to juicing and the other things when it came to plant-based nutrition. All of it's just been this evolving cycle, and I've just been able to share it online and help other people in their journey.
So are you a non-meat eater?
Okay, so that's an interesting topic. I went completely plant-based for 4.5 years out of necessity because, again, I had my colon and rectum removed. I got this stoma situation. And when you're on chemotherapy and all the prescription drugs that come along with it, that's very dehydrating, and it causes a lot of constipation, right? It makes it very hard to pass all the stuff that you need to do. So I had to figure this out because I was still eating the same way. I was being told that I could eat whatever I want by the nutritionists and the doctors in the hospital. Just eat whatever you want. Tell a food addict that and see what happens. Okay, so I was eating this regular stuff and I was miserable. I was like getting to the point where I was toxic all the time. So I made the change to plant-based nutrition. I did it in the middle of a heated chemo battle. And it changed my life. It was difficult, but it changed my life. And I was able to start creating a flow through my body that then I didn't feel the toxicity levels. And it was a great decision. Then I learned, after 4.5 years of that, I learned how to eat per your blood type.
Oh, huh.
Okay, if you've ever heard of that concept.
Yep.
So I got introduced to a person that has been taught by Dr. Bo Wagner about eating per your blood type and food combining. So it allowed me to realize that some fish is really good for my body. My body uses it like medicine. I'm wired really well for plant-based nutrition as an
Are you an A?
positive. Yes.
I knew it.
Look at you. We're speaking a lot of the same language.
I know we are.
We really are. I love what you're saying. Like, it's incredible.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It just shows you how much truth there is to it. And people just say, oh, you're woo-woo. No, you're not.
No.
There's so much to like just moving your body. We're here in a gym. It's such an incredible place. But like, imagine if everybody, you wouldn't be able to close these doors.
Right.
Yeah.
But nobody's in here.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough to get people to move, but we got to understand how important keeping our body in motion, keeping our body of knowledge in motion.
Yes.
Learning more, unlearning more is more important than learning sometimes, right? Because we get stuck in these, but my grandma's recipe, it's so good.
Yeah.
But to your point of the plant-based, while you were doing that, it probably wasn't plant-based that was, I'm still eating nachos because the nachos are fake cheese, right? So there's different ways to do
Raw
plant-based.
Food, plant-based.
Exactly.
Like we're talking
a lot
about,
different.
utilizing Earth's ingredients, not some
versus
plant.
beyond meat.
Right. Well, see, here's the thing. Like, I will do one of those once in a while.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
Every once in a while. It's not something that I lean on, which a lot of vegans or plant-based people will use plant-based products as a main staple in their diet, and that's dangerous.
Yeah.
I'd rather you just eat meat.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. But no, I went raw. Most likely, and
which is tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It wasn't all raw, but I cooked, and I love to cook. I'm a foodie, so I learned how to cook all my plant-based meals to taste just like my tacos or whatever it is.
You know Rich Roll?
Rich Roll.
Of course. Do you know who Rich Roll is? He has a big podcast. He's a plant-based, former alcoholic, plant-based ultra marathoner. And his story is pretty incredible too. He used to be quite heavy. Yeah. His podcast is really high on the charts.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it's one or two above us.
Or maybe a few more. For now.
Not for long.
Not for long.
We're coming for you, Rich Roll.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that you pointed out how kids are not educated on nutrition at all.
Gosh.
I always share a story. I just got to speak to my daughter's volleyball team, her club team, and I always share the story because people think it's not important, or they think just athletes just know how to eat. But I was helping out an agency years ago, and my role was to come in and give these NFL combine kids the nutrition side of things. And I remember I was teaching these kids all about nutrition, and one of the kids, he was one of the top tight ends in the draft that year, graduated from a great school. He raises his hand, he goes, I got a question. And he goes, it's a dumb question. I said, there's no dumb questions. What is it? And he goes, no, it's a dumb question. He said, you keep bringing up things like carbohydrates. What's a carbohydrate? Mm-hmm. And I said, how in the world are you in the position you're in and you don't know what a carbohydrate is? He goes, I know it's a dumb question. He goes, no one's ever taught me food.
Right.
They just send me in the cafeteria, tell me to eat as much as I can, whatever I want.
Yeah.
I got no idea what a carbohydrate is.
Yeah.
And that shocked me because this individual was such a high-performing individual but had no idea how to take care of his body.
Right.
And so I started asking other kids, what's this? What's that? They don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just it's the importance of it has been lost.
Sure.
It's
Food
not a big deal.
Food pyramid.
Yeah.
Food pyramid, right? That's one of the biggest scams ever.
Right.
But you're right. So fun fact, my wife and I, a long time ago, created a company called Make Eating Fun. It was a program, a placemat in a book, a story that coincides with the placemat. And it's kind of like a gamification of eating and snacking on real fruits and vegetables. One of the biggest pushbacks that kids, pose to their parents is, I'm not eating that.
Yeah.
Right? It's a control mechanism. And there's this condition called food neophobia. It's a fear of food, the crunch, the smell, the taste. We learned this stuff through this Make Eating Fun journey. But kids, that's their control mechanism. And parents, we're distracted. We're told that we need to do things that are convenient.
Yes.
We need to hustle. We need to have two incomes. Like there's so much pressure on the parents, and it takes the focus off the children. And then the children are being fed these cereals and things that are filled with dyes and colors and artificial things that are highly addictive, that turn into, the addictions and the habits later. But we don't take any time for the education piece.
No.
And it's all, I think, tied to the big corruption of food and pharma, to be honest with you, and it's got to stop. And it takes responsibility of people like us saying, gosh darn it, parents, let's wake up and actually put our kids first.
Yeah.
But guess what we got to do to put our kids first?
Ourselves first.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't change anything if you don't create change in yourself.
Yeah. I remember when my daughter was little, and she came home one day, she said, Dad, I found a candy that's good for me. It's a candy that's fruit. I'm like, what is it? And she pulled out a bag of Skittles.
Oh, no. Oh,
it's good for me, Dad. Look, it's fruit.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Right, we think of it. Yeah.
Well, even my daughter plays beach volleyball for Cal Poly SLO. She's right up there.
Right up there, right above you.
Okay, cool.
And even what they're given, food choices, limited and not great.
No, it's not.
And these are, and then I thought, well, maybe it's this school that doesn't have as much money as, let's say, an SC. Well, Sarah Banta, when she was on, confirmed, no, it's all across the board. Doesn't matter.
Systemic across the board and all
these
education.
athletes, you said, you can eat whatever you want because you're an athlete.
Yeah. You exercise so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the food topic is such a sensitive subject too, because now let's talk about City of Hope. Recovering from brain surgery or having my guts removed and all that stuff,
and what your choices were?
Your choices, my gosh, you guys. It's like, do you guys even pay attention at all? Because it's nothing but just stuff that causes an inflammatory environment. Inflammatory environment is where cancer thrives, right? Like it's all this like greasy cafeteria food.
Right.
Take some pride and they, God bless City of Hope. I love them so much, but they got this, like their food carts and it says nourishing hope. And I'm like, you're not giving any hope through nourishment. Those are lies. That's not true. And we gotta be able to recognize that and just stop the lies about it, because it is hugely important.
Sure.
What you put in, what you process, what you do with your time, the next step you make, right?
Absolutely.
And it's time consuming. It's hard to eat well.
And expensive.
Yeah, expensive. It's
and hard to find.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're on the road and it's not an easy option.
Yeah.
And I've driven this one crazy many times when I've been on, right?
Yes.
Isn't it crazy that like a McDonald's meal that has 85 ingredients in it is much cheaper than a watermelon?
We were just talking about that earlier.
No, it's
when
nuts.
We were working out. Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, how is this even possible? But again, we have to have these conversations so people will start asking the same questions.
Yes.
Because everybody's walking around blind, like, oh, okay, I could do that because LeBron drinks Sprite. No, he doesn't. He's paid by Sprite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, and Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, when I was growing up, they were not eating Big Macs. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
But
I did.
The Big Macs back then, I'm going to say, were probably not as bad as the Big Macs today.
I'll agree with you there.
Yeah.
It's gotten to be a really bad product.
Now the ingredient list is this long. Where is it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything is so different. You can see that. I don't know. It's
absolutely.
Yeah. It's very easy for me to go really crazy.
I think one of the best things I did with my kids when they were little, because like, for example, my daughter had never been to McDonald's, but it was the first logo she recognized.
Ooh.
She'd never been to one, but she was exposed to so much on commercials and things like that. Like, it was the first logo she recognized. Mm-hmm. So I never went with my kids like, you can't have that. It was always like, okay, we can go have that.
Yeah.
But how are you going to feel after you eat that? And I started associating, you eat that, you feel bad.
Yes.
You eat this, you feel good.
Yes.
It was a long process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, we don't care. We're going to feel bad. We're going to fight. We're going to cry. We still want to have it. And really what they wanted was the playground.
Oh.
And then it was...
I thought it was the toy.
Yeah, no, it was the playground.
Happy Meal toy.
Yeah, and then it was, okay, we want to go to McDonald's. Because Friday night, we'd always let them choose where we'd go eat. We want to go to McDonald's. But can we go to Chipotle to get our food and then go play in the playground?
Okay.
And so it's just, and eventually they got so tired of going to the playground, all the kids freaking out on the food.
Yeah.
It broke that. They don't want to go to McDonald's. They stopped wanting to go to McDonald's.
Right.
But still to this day, like, my daughter actually heard me speak. And I remember I was like, was that embarrassing for you? She goes, no, it's actually really fascinating. Like, a lot of stuff that you said made a lot of sense. And she changed.
Yep.
And like within a couple of days, she's like, oh my gosh, my energy's so much better. I'm sleeping better. This is incredible. But she tied into paying attention to how do I feel in these changes.
Right.
And so she's bought in all of a sudden. It's been awesome. And you can see it on the court when she's playing volleyball. It has so much more energy.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great way to lead, I think. I think that we need to teach people through energy.
Yeah.
Because you can feel that, and that you're the only person that has that control mechanism.
Yeah.
And once people realize that what you put in is going to directly relate into what you get out and what you could put out in this world, like that's the key to success in creating the change that we need as a population. Like if we care about our brothers and sisters across the nation, we need to start having this conversation. I love that you're leading through like, hey, pay attention to your energy. When you eat this, talk to me about it tomorrow. When you eat this, talk to me about it tomorrow. And have those open dialogues, especially with children, and have them articulate that. The sooner that we can get to them and teach them, the better off, because the food and farmer ain't going to stop. They're going to keep pushing their products.
It's a big money-making machine.
It was funny. One of the concerns when they had me come in to talk, like, please don't address weight. Like, don't talk about weight loss. I'm like,
why would you have done that?
I'm not. Well, because they're females. There's a lot of worry around that.
Oh yeah, almond mom. Don't be. That's what.
Well, now like addressing somebody's weight is very offensive, right?
Yeah,
like, we can't do that. But if we're like actually caring about the person that we're talking to and recognize that they're overweight and they're unhealthy and they're wheezing and all the things that come along with obesity.
Right.
I was obese, so I'm not fat shaming anybody. I was a fat guy. I hit it well, but I was that guy, and that's what caused my disease. So let's just wake up and just be able to be comfortable realizing really what we are. And
it's
make
not
the
thriving,
changes.
right?
It's definitely not thriving. You're suffering in there. Don't lie to yourself.
And it made the whole conversation about energy. How does food impact your brain? How does food impact your energy? We didn't even talk about weight. But the girls bought in because, it's different than what they're hearing. That's going to make me fat. That's going to make me skinny. It was not, we didn't have to address that as like, that's going to make you play better. That's going to make you play worse.
Which ultimately makes you fit in the way that your body was supposed to be designed. And you don't need an Ozempic or a Keytruda or whatever, just these different things. You don't need the quick fix, the diet pill, the over-the-counter stuff. All that stuff. Like, you need lifestyle. And you need to focus on your energy. And when you can create good energy consistently, you're going to live the life that you're supposed to. And it's going to feel great. It's going to feel really good.
But you and I were talking about the other day, I think it was you and me, about a lot of people are walking around this earth and don't even know how bad they feel. They're just used to, throwing Tylenol at it or, Tums at it or whatever it is because, I've got a headache or a stomach ache or whatever. They don't realize how badly they really feel overall. I think that's true.
I think it's very true. We've gotten numb to how ill we feel all the time. And it's just like we just became accepting of it because it's a lot easier to accept it and say, well, just don't make fun of me. No. And not do anything about it than it is to create the change, because change is hard.
Yes, it is.
That's it is. It's very hard. So we just got to get out of the excuses.
Absolutely.
So how do we change our life? How do we have the ultimate comeback? Get out of your way. Realize how you were responsible for the reality that you've created. Unless it's a genetic thing. There's some of those. But come on, guys.
But still things can be done to that end as well.
Yes, you can control things a lot more efficiently through diet, hydration, herbal supplements, working out, grounding.
Do you have a grounding sheet? I've been hearing about this.
I have like a whole frequency healing center in my home.
Really? Yes. Tell us about that.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I got introduced to an amazing man that changed my life. His name is Aaron Cameron. He's out in Malibu. He had a place called Q360. And he brought me out there and educated me on the power of frequency. And so I did a lot of healing through light and sound and all that stuff, and got control of this fight at a time where my doctor was trying to push me back into chemotherapy when things got a little bit aggressive. I gave it a 2-month try. That 2-month try turned into a year of me controlling the disease in a way without it advancing on me. Okay?
Now, may I ask you, what were your doctor? Were they on board for this, or were they like, you're freaking crazy, you need to do what we're telling you?
Yes.
Okay.
So
the latter, I assume?
They weren't on board at first.
Okay.
Like they're like, don't get in our way, don't do things like that. Like that's not
don't be a Steve Jobs or whatever.
I can't talk to you about a lot of it is I can't talk to you about that.
Oh,
but if you know somebody, like especially in the cancer hospital, my doctor's been amazing with me. Like I told him about the living water concept, and he's like, you can just make water with tap water and lemon, and it's gonna do the same thing. Like, don't waste your money. And I was like, okay, so that was I know where I'm not getting my advice on this stuff.
Yeah.
But so we've learned from each other. I let him be the professional in the medical space, and I'm gonna take over my responsibility as being a professional in my healthcare.
Yes.
Right. So
the grounding. I'm curious.
The grounding. Yeah. So it came at a pivotal time, and so I got control of it, and then whatever happened, circumstances, I ended up bringing some equipment in my home, and now I heal every single day. I was only able to go out to the facility twice a week, and I was getting great results. After my brain surgery, I had to stop going out there for healing purposes or whatever. And so then I decided to invest in the equipment and bring some of it home. So I got a grounding, like a PEMF, a pulse, electromagnetic pulse mat that will increase my blood circulation, open my body's ability to be able to receive frequency and do the things that I need to do to detoxify, drain my lymphatic system, target cancer. One of the frequency machines works with resonant light. It emits resonant light. And resonant light's amazing because it's been studied, and there's all these different frequencies for all of our different organs and different things like bacteria, parasites, cancer, all the different kinds of cancer. Like there's different frequencies. So if you hit a cell long enough with resonant light, you can obliterate that cell.
Wow.
It's been proven. And so one of my machines is that. And so I try to spend like 3 to 5 hours a day in a space with that giving me vibes.
Wow.
And then I pull toxins through an ionic foot bath and do that. And then I'm actively trying to sweat as much as possible. Rebounding is huge. Grounding, like golfing barefoot. So, it's a whole cycle of life, and frequency has become a major part of it. And I'm so thankful for what I learned about it because it changed my life.
Were you always open to these sort of alternate paths?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think when it became a point of like, I didn't want to leave my daughter. I wasn't guaranteed to see her 11th birthday.
Okay.
She's 17 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was my light in every dark valley, other than Jesus meeting me there. But she was it. She was my whole purpose of changing my life. And so I just was like, how can I make excuses at any level and then go look her in her eyes?
Yeah.
And tell her that I'm giving it my best.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, I wasn't always this guy. I wasn't always willing to step outside the box and kind of be bold about my convictions. But
oh my God,
I know, crazy.
The thought of that, like looking at your kid, telling him, I don't think I can do that right now. Like I'm giving it my best to take care of myself.
Ooh,
that's
bum.
Yeah, that's a kick to the gut.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for anybody, but you know what? Sometimes you get forced into situations that makes you change.
Yeah.
I was forced into a situation to make this change. I advise anybody that's watching, develop your own ultimate comeback without a cancer diagnosis.
Yes.
It's not fun.
Oh my gosh.
I'm very proud of where I'm at. I'm very blessed to be in this body and this healthy. Yes, I'm fighting a deadly disease, but I'm also handling it really, really well, and I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
But it was all just in those moments of like, I cannot fail her. And thankfully, my body's responded well.
Yeah,
I recognize that not everybody responds exactly like I have too. I responded well to chemo. I responded well to radiation. I've responded really well to all the natural stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blessed. Like I'm thankful.
Yeah. But I mean, having that open mind about not only doing the Western medicine stuff, but saying, okay, I'm going to try some of these alternative pathways that.
Well, that becomes one of the hardest things in the whole fight because you're bullied into believing a certain thing.
Oh.
You get told you have 6 months to live, so you believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it.
You didn't believe it?
No.
Really?
Maybe at first, but quickly I stopped believing it.
Okay.
I took that number and lost it until it became just part of my story.
Wow.
Yeah, until I beat that. And then it was always the next thing, like living in the moment. I live my life in like 90-day cycles because that's been like my scans and my barometer of like how things are going.
Okay.
So I've gotten really good, the competitive edge of being an athlete. Like that's how I've gamified this process and made myself sane through it. But yeah, having to look any loved one in the eyes and have to tell them that you're fighting for your life and you may not make it till the next milestone or whatever. Like I took on that news 3 days before Christmas and I had to go see my whole family and deal with the holidays without telling most of them. It was so devastating.
Yeah.
So devastating.
Yeah.
Like, but my why became bigger than my excuses.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, that is powerful.
And you're such a great dad. This one, will not miss any of his kids, anything.
I love that.
His kids are walking across the street and he's going to be there for it, for real. No, really.
Yeah, no,
he is one of the best dads that I know other than my own husband.
Yeah.
He's a really great dad as well.
That's how my dad was with me.
Yeah.
And I know how lucky I was to have that and want to make sure that I get that to my kids.
And so I'm sure that really hit.
Yeah, that's why I was like, man, I'm
I could tell it kind of got you there.
I'm cheating some things. Well. And, but like, that got me. Like, that's a harsh reality.
You also have to give yourself grace, and you have to give yourself, moments for your happiness. And sometimes, like, it's not a great habit, whether it's like that big old breakfast burrito or a cocktail or two or whatever it is that you're like, oh, that's probably not the best thing I should be doing.
Yeah,
give yourself
grace. It's not cocktails for you anymore.
No, it's just a thought process.
How long has that been now? No cocktails.
Year and a half
for you,
Congratulations.
Man. Yeah, it's been phenomenal. I love it.
Clarity. Just that good vibe. Again, energy, right?
Oh yeah. It's phenomenal the different the makes. The better sleep.
Yeah.
The energy, the clarity, the calmness.
Yes.
It was a.
Alcohol was a big part of my life too, and
it was before.
It was before my diagnosis, and I ended up quitting. It was great. I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I was really just gonna. I was gonna go for 3 months. Just want to get away from the environment, away from the people, all of it. And it was such a better life that I've never gone back. It was never like I'm done for good. I just decided I like this lifestyle better.
Right.
Yeah.
There might be a time, and in fact, I just talked to my daughter about a time that it's going to happen. Her 21st birthday, so 4 years from now, she wants to go to Napa. We're like, let's go to Vegas. She's like, no, let's go to Napa. That's the type of old soul she is, right?
Okay.
She's matured very fast in these 7 years, right? She's dealt with a lot, so she's got a mature mind. Anyway, Napa is going to be the destination, so I will wine taste with her for the first time. I'll do that.
Yeah, that's been my thing. Like, I'll still do it for like celebratory reasons, like big reasons.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to go out to have a beer, just to like.
You're not heading down to Malarkey's anytime soon.
No. I prefer, life's a little better away from those arenas. But it's again, that's the thing. Like, I just feel better with this style of life. And I mean, like, I haven't been drunk since I had my daughter, so it wasn't like I was heavily drinking all the time. It was a couple of cocktails, a couple times a night.
Yeah.
It was enough to drag me down enough to where when I stopped, I was like, oh, geez, I am way more with it off this stuff than I am having it.
And it's expensive. So let's take those expenses and put them towards healthier lifestyle changes.
Yeah, 100%.
Via the good foods.
Yeah.
Great point. Because we talked, and I mentioned, one of you mentioned about how like being healthy and having a healthy lifestyle is expensive.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But so is an unhealthy lifestyle, and people just view it as like, I'm not going to change those things,
of course,
to sacrifice for this healthy lifestyle. Yep. So yeah, of course it's going to be expensive because now you got to spend more money.
Yeah.
But if you work in a like the unlearning and learning thing of like replacing the bad habits with the good ones, people could do it.
Yes.
You could do it. It just takes effort. It takes creativity. And that's the thing that we've lost because we've gotten just really like complacent in the confusion of like, hey, you got to hustle. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's all a distraction from being the healthiest version of ourselves and being the leaders that we need to be for the future generations, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Man, I love this.
Yeah, so good.
This has been awesome. We got to cut this off. We've been rolling for a while.
Where can we find your products?
Love that. Thank you. Higher Power Wellness. So my last name is Higher, H-E-Y-E-R, like Oscar Mayer. So Higher Power Wellness is my tag on Instagram, and I'm very active there. So if anybody wants to follow me on Instagram, I share a lot of great content there, and I'm very reachable.
Awesome.
I also have websites. I got higherpowerwellness.com where you can find all my products. Very proud of the products that we've created. They're for everybody. They're not just for cancer warriors, but they're for everybody. And a portion of the proceeds on my wellness site goes towards the fight. It goes towards the foundation efforts of giving away our products to people that can't afford it across this country that are fighting this disease. And then you got higherpowerfoundation.org, which is our foundation site, obviously. And that's the main mechanism that's really hoping to drive to the masses to be able to help more people. So we're looking for corporate sponsors, people to latch on and say, look, I want to sponsor a warrior. We've got a whole Warrior of the Month program right now that we've been pushing out. And so we want to be able to find people and reach people and not have to turn our backs on them because of a financial barrier. And there's a lot of maybe corporate people out there, entrepreneurs, just successful people that have been impacted by cancer in a way that we're looking for people to lock arms with us and say, hey, you guys are making a difference. Let's go make a difference together. So we started the foundation, and we
That's
use
great.
all of it for the betterment of the cancer community.
Fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so
Really
much.
great.
Man,
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time
Yes.
to come hang out
And
with
Thank
us.
thank you for
having
being
me.
flexible, pivoting into
Hey, this is cool. I
our
like it.
alternate studio, apparently.
It's been kind of nice, yeah.
All of a sudden, Brad's like, oh, maybe we'll go here. Yeah.
That was a great idea. This
Yeah.
turned out to
Yeah.
be great. Like I
Yeah.
said, I think it's probably going to be your best episode ever.
Probably.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm not being biased or anything, but no, but seriously, like this is a cool vibe, and
Thank you.
I'm just stoked that you guys give
Yeah.
us a platform to be able to talk about
Oh,
our ultimate
absolutely.
comeback, and hopefully we can impact somebody's life out
Yes.
there. So
Thank you
thank you
so
guys.
much.
Yeah. All
Appreciate
right.
it.